Alright everyone, welcome to our discussion today. Our topic is English a boring subject at school? Let's start with some introductions.
Hi, I'm Amy Win, and I think English can be boring sometimes.
Hello, I'm Danishes and I actually enjoy learning English.
Hi, I'm Smalltalk and I think English is boring because of all the grammar rules.
Hey, I'm Basna and I agree with Swandaba. English grammar can be really dull.
Thank you everyone for the introductions. Amy Win, why do you find English boring sometimes?
Well, for me, English feels repetitive. We learn the same things over and over again, like grammar rules and vocabulary.
Interesting point. Then the issue, you mentioned enjoying English. What makes it enjoyable for you?
I find English fun because I like reading story and speaking with others in English. It's like exploring new words through language.
That's a great perspective. Santa Bang Dosena, what do you think about the issue's viewpoint?
I understand why students to enjoy English, but for me, the grammar part is a major tenor. It feels like a lot of memorization in without math excitement.
Yet, I agree. It's hard to stay interested. One we have to do is learn rules and exceptions.
Then the issue, how do you think we can make English more engaging for students like Santa Bang and Dosena?
Maybe incorporating more activities like games or discussion where we can use English in practical way rather than just memorizing rules. Making it more interactive could help.
Great suggestion. Amy, do you think adding more interactive activity will make English more enjoyable for you?
Yeah, I think so. If we could do more hands-on stuff instead of just sitting and studying, studying grammar books, I might enjoy it more.
It seems like there's a consensus that adding more interactive activity to English lesson could make English more enjoyable. Before we wrap it, does anyone have any final talk on the topic?
I still think English will never be my favorite subject, but I'm open to trying out different approaches to see if it can become more interesting for me.
Agree. It's worth exploring different methods to make learning English more enjoyable for everyone.
Alright, let's delve deeper into our topic. Amy Wind, you mentioned finding English repetitive. Could you give some example of what make it feel like that way for you?
Sure. For instance, we often have to do similar exercise in our workbooks, like filling in the blanks with the correct fragments. It starts to feel like we are just going through the motions. We are just going through the motions without really learning anything new.
I see. So the repetitive nature of the exercise make it monotonous for you. Then Nidishi, how do you feel about this?
I understand where Imimiwen is coming from, but I think repetition can also be useful for reinforcing what we learn. But however, I agree that if it's overdone, it can become boring.
That's a balanced perspective. Uh, Sanabai, you mentioned grammar being a challenge for you. Uh, can you elaborate on why do you find it boring?
Where English grammar has so many rules and exceptions, does it feel overwhelming sometimes? Plus, it's always easy to see, not always to see how is applied in real life situation.
That's a balanced point. So, Dawson, do you share Sanabai feelings about grammar?
Absolutely. Sometimes I feel like I'm just memorizing rules without really understanding why they are important. It's make the whole learning process less engaging.
Thank you for sharing your experience. You mentioned enjoy reading stories in English. Do you think incorporating more literature in our lesson could make English less boring for everyone?
Definitely. I think story can bring life to language and help us see how English is used in different contexts. Plus, it's just more enjoyable than staring at grammar worshipped or do.
That's a great suggestion. Mimi Win, how do you think about using a story to learn English?
I think it could be fun as long as the stories are interesting and not too difficult to understand. It will be a nice change from our usual routines.
It sounds like incorporating engaging activity like storytelling could benefit anyone. Before we conclude, does anyone have any final thought on how we can make English more enjoyable for students?
I think having more opportunity to practice speaking and listening will help. It's one thing to learn grammar rules, but being able to communicate effectively is what really matters in the end.
I agree. Maybe we could do more group activities or discussion where we have to use English to express our opinions and ideas.
Those are excellent suggestions. There are many ways to make English more enjoyable and practical for students. Thank you all for your contribution to this discussion. Now let's stop here and continue to explore these ideas in our future discussions.